As a viewer, it's tough to pick sort of any number of scenes. I really like the opening sequence from Krypton, obviously, and I love the way that Zach introduced Clark in the story. It was straight to his adulthood and his sense of loneliness. And then, of course, the third act is pretty special. I'm going to start naming every scene in the movie now. I also really enjoyed the moment where Lois finally finds Clark and starts questioning him, and he explains why he hasn't revealed himself yet. And it then goes on to tell the story of his father's death. And so, though, again, that's a large number of scenes I just mentioned, but I enjoyed all of them, and I think they were perfectly placed throughout the movie. The flying's a lot of fun, and sometimes it's a bit tricky because you're surrounded by a depthless green essentially, and so when you're in a completely green room like that, you lose all perspective. And if you're just in a green room without any props or any sort of set pieces to interact with, it can start to play with your head a little bit. But otherwise, a lot of fun. And Jim Churchman, who was the wire master essentially. Very, very good at what he did and what he does, and it was very enjoyable to work with him. Amy, as a person and an actress, was wonderful to work with. Wonderful fun, takes her work very seriously as well, and as an actress, just very good at what she does. And if you're working with someone who's good, it makes your job even easier because they're embodying a character in front of you, and you're only having to pretend that you're your character as opposed to pretending that they're their character as well. And so working with Amy was a real pleasure, and I'm looking forward to working with her again. Very much so a fan of the comics. As a boy, I didn't get the opportunity to read the comic books that much. Being in boarding school, didn't have easy access to the comic book stores or anything. But as soon as I got the job, I did really delve deeply into as much of the lore as I possibly could in the short period of time that I had, and found out that I really, really love reading the books. And to answer your question, I would say my favorite villain, it's I would Doomsday, because of the spectacular storyline that follows. That was one of the first books I read, and it just really, really caught me. And I love how Doomsday was that character who was Superman's match, who everyone thought didn't exist. Working with Diane Lane and Kevin Costner was fantastic. I mean, they play Martha and Jonathan Kent, respectively. And to work with two actors of that caliber and that experience, there's a certain there's something special about working with that. And they really brought out these wonderful qualities in Martha and Jonathan, which I think only those two actors could bring to it. And to work with them again was a genuine pleasure. And I hope I get the opportunity to work with them again, whether on this or something else. As an actor, I personally try not to focus too much on the idea of it being an iconic moment. I leave that up to my director, because he's the one who's in charge. He's the one who's going to put the movie together in the end. Where if I'm trying to do my own thing as well there, it can start to complicate things and make things messy for him. I just try to play it through the character's eyes. And Clark and Cal they are not at that time thinking, oh, okay, this is my big iconic moment in history. They're thinking, okay, I hope no one recognizes me, and I wonder if I can get away with this. And oh, look, there's Lois. It's not sort of an iconic moment for him, and so that's how I try and play it every time. If I try and sort of step outside the box too much, then, as I say, it can get complicated and sometimes come across as very contrived. I only had one very brief moment working with Lawrence right at the very end of the movie, and I enjoyed it enormously. He's a lovely person to work with, and obviously extremely talented. And it's great to see these people in real life, after having seen them in so many wonderful movies, and you're suddenly working with them, and and seeing how they are as human beings. And having said that, he's a lovely human being, and I look very forward to working with him more in the future. I'm sure he'll be fantastic, above all else. And as a filmmaker, he's got his own style. You know, he's not copying anyone else. And he's also sort of been tenacious in his career. He's had ups followed by downs, and now he's very up again. And I think that requires and shows a very special strength of character. And it's something which I enjoy working with, because jobs like this require strength of character. They require a dedication to the work and a belief in oneself. And Ben has that, clearly. The next installment, as we all know, is involving another rather important character. And I'm looking very forward to that interaction, because ultimately they're two sides of the same coin. And that's going to be interesting. I mean, they're two sides of the same coin in every way. And how they interact, and how they clash, and how they ultimately, you know, aim towards the same goal is going to be an interesting relationship. And I look forward to playing that with Ben especially. On the extras on the Blu-ray, we're going to get the opportunity to see Zack's references to other aspects of the DC universe. There's one obvious one, which was now particularly obvious because of our next installment, which is involving Batman as well. We see Bruce Wayne Enterprises on the satellite in space. We also see some references to LexCorp. I have no actual further knowledge of this next story, so there's a good chance that Lex is going to be introduced either soon or at some stage. What really intrigued me was Dr. Emil Hamilton's reference to Star Labs. Cyborg, I think, would make a wonderful character, and an incredible bridge between both superhumans and humanity in a different way to Batman. And so I don't know where he's going to come in or if he's going to come in, but that's one I'm particularly excited about. And other references I'm not too sure on, but we'll see where those lead. Those with keen eyes will see them. What it means to me? It means many things to me, all in different aspects of my life, professional and personal. It's changed a lot, certainly. My life has become a different animal altogether since the movie came out. I've been very fortunate to have parents very much like Martha and Jonathan, in the sense that they're very concerned about my well-being and about forming me into a good and healthy character who's ultimately, you know, striving for the right things. And it's nice to be able to play a role like that without it being too much of a fake, you know? I've had sort of a fortunate situation where my parents have wanted me to be a good person, and supported me wonderfully through any hardships I've been through. But ultimately, to play such an important character in so many people's lives, it's an honor. I get an opportunity to embody that person, and I just hope that I do it justice. And I hope that the people out there who have supported this character and followed this character for so long feel like I do a good job while I carry the mantle.
You will destroy us all.
You can't give up now!
The Hobbit, the Desolation of Smaug.
I can't breathe!
You got me. Anybody?
Gravity. I only work in black, and sometimes very, very dark gray.